Hey everyone, Coach Trev, the accountability coach, getting everything ready, notes and all. Come on. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Here we go. All right, good and good. Let's be sure that everything is down, everything is all set. Got the notes. How's everyone doing? Please come in, say hello. Let me know where you are chiming in from. Yeah, let me know where you are chiming in from. Okay, besides my area. Yep, getting everything ready as I usually do. So, for those, if it's your first time, welcome, welcome. Coach Trev, the accountability coach. My tagline, the foot in your backside, making sure you don't backslide. And so I help professionals and I help entrepreneurs as well to achieve their goals through clarity, through confidence, and through construction. That can be deconstruction before we do construction, but it all gets done. So that's a good thing. All right. And just to remind you, for those who think that I'm looking away, I'm actually not. It's because I have another monitor where I have my notes and things. All right. So just want to make sure everything is good. All right. We're excellent. Okay. So it looks like we're good to go. I'd like to give it a few minutes for those that may be finishing up, that are going for the day. All right. Looks like that's good. There we go. All right. And I'm going to share this out as well. So give me a quick second. This is to let people know, and also this gives you an opportunity for you to share out the live. Let people know, yes, it's about that time. What time is it? It is time. It is Coach Trev time. He's going live at 5 p.m. I go live at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. So I'm doing that. Let's push that there. Let's see. It is interesting that you begin to look at things and you see other people in different lights. And so it's a matter of being sure that you utilize your time most effectively. Boom. All right. Hey, how are you, BLW? BWL, I should say. Thank you so much. Be sure to share out the live. If you haven't done so, be sure to take the time and say, hey, all right. As I said, I give it a few moments to let people come in. I got a good topic for you today. If you've seen that, we're going to be talking about the 5 habits that quietly build success. That's right, the 5 habits that quietly build success. Build success. Okay, there we go. So that was added. So I added that there. So what I'm just doing is letting people know, because there are times where we all are doing so many different things. There are so many things that are going on out there. And this gives me an opportunity to let people know. So for those that wanted to come, but forgot to, did not put the reminder on. If you are not, be sure you are following me, that you are following my profile. Hey, TLC Finance, thank you. Welcome in. Be sure to share, post. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much for stopping in. How's your day going? Today, I'm going to talk about 5 habits that quietly build success. Thank you so much for sharing out the live. Thank you so much for the repost. I appreciate you. And let's see what we have here. All right. Oh, you know what? I don't think I've done that. Okay, let's do the bees. Boom. Thank you. Thank you for sharing out. Thank you for sharing out the live. All right, because I know that I've been doing that and pushing that to many, many people. All right, gonna give it one more moment. I already did that. Okay. All right. So here we go. I have done the thing, tapped it out, and sent it out. Thank you so much. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right. So I want to jump in. I want to thank you all for those that have been consistent, that have been coming in, for sharing out the live, for those that are have comments. Uh, Tonight I am getting ready because the mastermind starts. Yes, I have a mastermind that I started before, but it is more of a it's almost a I'll say it's new. I was going to call it a relaunch, but really it is something new. So it's a community I'm creating. So if you're interested in finding out more, just message me. Um, if you cannot join, if you cannot join us later, hey, then those who join will still have access to the recording. So all is right. So let's go. I've got my notes here, and let's let's pull this. All right. So 5 habits for success. You let your people out. So let's start off with this. When it comes to success, what do you have in mind? What do people think about? You think about promotion. You think about houses. You think about these announcements, stages, and things. See, a lot of times when people think success, they think that it's loud, that it's parade, it's skywritten, it's something that that's going to be really written, massive things, big. But one of the things I've learned is that success is really quiet. No one applauds the fact that you're waking up this early. Now, if you have somebody applauding you in the morning, hey, reach out to me, let me know. But really, no one really applauds the fact that hey, you were disciplined, for that one improvement. No one like cheers you when you kept your word to yourself. No one celebrates like if you read an extra chapter or you make another sales call or anything like that. See, those things they don't make headlines, but what they do is they build extraordinary lives. So tonight, what I want to share is 5 quiet habits that help you build success before anyone notices the results. Right? Long title, but we're going to deal with the number 5. Usually, and I've been sticking with the number 5 for the last couple of weeks because I go live at 5. Now, if you have any questions or any topics that you'd like me to consider, feel free to send a note out to send me a message and I will address your topic. If you have any questions during this live, let me know. Put it in the comments, and if and I will get to I can. If I miss it, then feel free to message me and I'll reach out to you directly to be sure that your question is addressed. All right. So let's make sure that everything's going well. All right. So that's good. Notes are up. Everybody's here. And make sure that everything is as it should be. I believe it is. Hold on, let me do one other thing. I tell you, and I thank you all for your patience as we navigate through this. So let's move forward. 5 habits help you quietly build success. Hey, Miss Diane, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Very grateful. Very grateful. Very grateful for sharing. So excellent, excellent. All right, all right. So let's come into number one. All right, and so when it comes to the 5 habits that quietly build success, number one, the people that do that yourself. One habit is that you keep your promises to yourself. That what you say goes. That you build that self trust. So the fastest way for you to build confidence is become someone you can trust. So Many times people talk about, yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Um, integrity. Yes, integrity. That is the key word right there. I said a lot of words. At the end of it, it's integrity. The fastest way to become someone you can trust. Many times we talk about keeping promises to other people, to others, but really, success starts with keeping your word to yourself. Because every time you say you'll do something and you don't, what it does is it weakens the trust that you have within yourself. You put out these ideas and things, and when it doesn't happen, when you don't follow through, then you begin to doubt yourself. You're feeding that particular person and that particular monster. So it's really what you feed is what's going to grow. So if you constantly say you're doing something and you're not, then you're basically feeding that mistrust person inside of you. You're feeding that mistrust, that distrust, that doubt. And so so what happens is it's you want to get into the habit of following through, because every time you follow through, it strengthens and builds your confidence. So, and as you think about it, people think that they're born with confidence, but really, confidence isn't something you're waiting to feel. It's something that happens through repeated action, through uh, through repetition. So that repetition, as you start to act. So confidence isn't something that who is confidence that shows up knocking on your door as opportunity. You need to act, and then when you follow, it builds it up. So you want to start with the simple things, the basic things, because really it's like when you start to look at every single word and you start to judge it by, then you put more energy to something like that. So what I'm saying to you is that small promises matter just as much as big ones. So showing up consistently, that's what matters. That's what builds your success. That's what's going to help you to go to that next level. When you show up consistently and you follow through, that matters. It helps you to move forward in that. It helps you to build that trust of yourself. It helps you to build that habit. So it's that integrity that happens when no one is watching. You said it, CLC. It's integrity. It's that when no one's watching, who are you? What happens? It's like, I've heard the saying, you can tell the signs of a good leader. It, basically, is what happens to his company when he's absent, when he leaves, when he goes on vacations. How do his people act? And so they're the result of that. So, and when it comes to that, in those leaders, they also have accountability, because really, it starts with you being honest with yourself, and accountability starts with personal honesty. Right? Who are you when no one's watching? That's right, TLC. That's right, exactly. And so every completed commitment sends a message to your mind. And that message says, I'm someone who finishes. So you say something, you follow through, you program yourself to become a finisher. So that's how you're knowing. And your mind is really it's waiting for insight. It's waiting for command. So if you're breaking your promise to yourself, your mind is going to search for the evidence. It's going to always say, okay, this is what I am, and that's going to become my identity. So who you are is by your actions, by the commitments you have to yourself. So as you may start with the small. You may start with the small things, the small tasks. But what it is you're now reshaping your identity. You're reprogramming yourself. You're editing and remolding. Basically, you're on the potter's wheel, and you are the shape. So now it's like, okay, the words that you do, the actions that you take are now shaping who you're going to be. So it's not just you accomplishing goals, it's you becoming someone who you trust. You trust yourself with this assignment, with this goal, with this vision, with this responsibility. So that's something to think about is think about what's a promise that you've made to yourself that you need to keep. Now, remember, we're not comparing ourselves to anyone. It's a matter of looking at what you have, what you're committed to. Did you say that you were going to sign up for a particular program, that you were going to complete a course, that you were going to call somebody, that you were going to you are going to do an exercise or whatever, get healthier, eat better. Start with those things and then continue to build yourself up. Remember, it's the small actions, the repeated actions that builds the confidence and that makes you a follower. So that's important. All right. Now, and once you trust yourself, you start thinking differently about your time. So the first habit is that you keep promises to yourself. That's how you finally build success. All right. So let me just clicking in, making sure everything is good. All right. So we are good. Okay. Now, next thing, the next habit number two, when you start to trust yourself, you start thinking differently about time. And really, when it comes to you quietly building success, one of the key things is you begin to plan tomorrow before today ends. That's right. You design your tomorrow today. Yes, that really starts. And it's interesting that this morning I was hearing a lesson about how to design your day. What are the things that can impact you before you lay down? And so that's what it is. It's like, you know, and really, it was about planning your day, designing what you're going to do. It's not that you want to be sure that if you build success, you're not waking up wondering what to do. You wake up ready to do it. So there's that difference. So you start planning that. So when you look at all the decisions that you make, um, and that you're saying, okay, well, I want to be successful. What can I do? Your goal is to really save your energy for the big things. So you basically want to reduce unnecessary decisions. Reduce those things. Reduce what's there. Reduce any of the things that you have to decide. It could be what you're going to eat, in the morning, what you're going to wear, who you need to talk to. These are certain things that can start. These are things that you'll see as unnecessary that can be planned. You know, and then as you begin to really reshape time, yeah, planning the day before the day. Exactly. Thank you. And it's as you're operating at a higher level because you're now becoming that person of self-trust, of keeping your word. You're now thinking, okay, how can I utilize my time better? And so one of the ways is that you don't want to leave tomorrow to chance. You don't want to let life happen. You want to happen to life. So one way that you can do that is one, you can start by reviewing your wins and lessons for today. Now, notice I called it wins and lessons. See, even for those of you that are aiming for success, as you move towards that area, your language changes as well. You are replacing terms that were once convey a certain message, but now you're saying, "Let me put another term here that's going to evoke better positive energy, positiveness, positive thoughts, the thoughts that lead you to success." So you know what are the words that are going to frustrate you, cause doubt, regret, low self-esteem, all of those things. Now you need to find the words that are going to build you up, cause discipline, consistency, confidence, growth, all of those things. Integrity, um, so you want to think about that and say, okay, what are words and how can my language change? And so, even though that's a bit of a tangent on this one, that was I went on that tangent because I said, as you move closer towards your goals, you want to think about your days, your wins, and your lessons. No, so I replaced the word loss with lessons because that is deliberate. That's intentional. It's to create and evoke the environment because now programming your mind like, okay, if I didn't accomplish that, then there's a lesson in that. So it's wins. I got wins column and the lessons columns, and that's it. So you review your wins and your lessons. The next thing that you do, as one that's planning today, tomorrow, you start to identify. You don't make your list because people want to make their list and stuff. Okay, I got to do this. I got to check my email. I got to clear my notifications. I got to delete these photos. Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You're doing well. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. How are you? And so, yes. So, as a person of success, you want to be sure not only you go over your wins or losses, you want to identify tomorrow's priorities. So, as you're doing that, you're preparing yourself mentally before the days begin. You're planning your tomorrow today. You're designing your day the night before. And so what that does is it gets your mind in a particular mindset. You begin to remove decision fatigue. You reduce uncertainty. Yes, there's a thing called decision fatigue. That's because if you've got to decide, all right, what am I going to eat? What am I going to wear? Who do I need to talk to? How am I going to, what am I doing tomorrow morning? All that is decision fatigue. And so, because it is that, that's going to take away. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me know, TLC. Have a good one. And so, you have to think about it that as you're moving towards success, you're building success habits. Your goal is to remove uncertainty and reduce decision fatigue. And you do that by planning the night before. And so, what you do is then, as you're design, oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. Thank you. Um, as you're as you're planning tomorrow, the day before, thank you for that, Mustafa. Thank you. Um, that you are reducing decision fatigue, and when you're planning your day, you're creating momentum before your alarm clock begins. You're building that momentum. So even in your sleep, even as you lay down and say, "Okay, I'm going to sleep," um, I've planned my day, I've decided my priorities. You're now saying that, okay, you've got your momentum even as you're going to bed. You know, so that's a key thing. And what happens is you now have a plan for your day, and what happens, and that plan then creates clarity. Tell you, it's a off your shoulders to be able to get up in the morning and know what you're doing, know how this day is going to be. Say, hey, I'm going to get up at this time, regardless. This is what's going to happen. And so that written plan creates clarity, and that clarity creates focus. So as you're focused on your goals, you're focused on these things, you're moving from the left to the right, you know how to move. So it's not like you're ducking and dodging everything, hey, Ricky. Um, it's now you know what you're doing. And so that written plan creates the clarity. Your clarity then builds the focus, and your focus then has execution because now you know what you're doing. So it's not you deciding what to do, it's you doing it. It's you saying, okay, I've got my priorities, let's do. And as you're executing, the results are going to happen. Everything that comes forward, it comes into the process because that's how it flows. It's the formula of things. Your written plan creates clarity. Your clarity is going to help you to focus. Your focus now knows that, okay, I need to execute. And as you're executing, you're now seeing the results. Now, because you're planning, it doesn't guarantee that you'll have success. Many people do that. They say, you know what, I want to guarantee my success. That's not going to happen. Sorry, I'm not bursting your bubble. It's the reality of it. It doesn't happen, okay? So it doesn't guarantee success, but what it does is it does improve the odds. It does push the needle that much closer to you having it. Because a few minutes of planning can seriously save you hours of frustration. So, plan the day the night before. It's one of the quietest habits of successful people, preparation, right? So, that's habit number three. Habit number two, you plan the day, you plan the next day the night before. Now, number three, it's good. Planning is important, but planning is very little if you don't finish what you start. So, habit number three, to quietly build success. What do successful people do? Finish more than you start. That's right. Finish more than you start. Well, how's that possible? I'm telling you, when you become somebody who completes, you change your trajectory, you change your habits. Making sure that I hydrate too. So Everyone likes to start. All right. And let me just check to make sure that I'm on track here. Yep, on track. All right. I've got everything here. That's good. Okay. All right. Let's go. Now, and I have to admit this as well. This is something that I've fallen victim to as well, is that I like starting. Starting is fun, it's exciting. You're like, "Ooh, something new, something great." It really it gives you that feeling. It's nice. It's the shiny object. It is that. It's a great thing. You know, and so you have this feeling and you're starting and it's day one, like, oh, you got everything sharpened, you got everything in together, everything's aligned, you're moving in that space. And so day one, that's great. Day two, it's great. Day three, it's great. Hey, Mr. T, thank you for joining. Um, it's a great thing. So it's like, okay, so you got day one, day three, you're still exciting sometimes, but when you get to day 10, that feeling of excitement goes away. And so now you're like, "Oh, maybe I'll just put a pause on this. I'll put a pin right here." And that's the challenge of it, is that finishing requires discipline. So there are many people out there, and I used to be one of them. Hey, sir, good to see you. Um, there are many people that collect projects, but few people actually complete them. Thank you for that. There are few people that actually complete them. So, and the people like to have fun. And then when you're thinking about fun, you look at starting, you're looking at new ideas. And so it's like, okay, to you to do that. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you. And so repetition really is where success is built. So one of the things to really note, and thank you for that, Mr. T, is that when it comes to success, um, successful people, they resist chasing every opportunity. They stay committed to what's already in front of them. So they become completers because they know that one, completion builds confidence. And as it builds confidence, it also builds credibility. So now you're known as a person that they said that one, they said that they keep the words to themselves. They planned the day the night before, and now they finish more than they start. So as you complete something, it builds momentum. You build momentum with yourself. You build confidence in yourself in doing other things. You also build credibility. So those are key things as well. Now, every finished task you do prepares you for the larger one that's coming up. So you complete a milestone, it prepares you for the next step that you're going to take. That's important. All right. Um, and so you realize that, and that gives you the momentum to keep going. See, if you don't complete a task, if you have so many unfinished projects, that drains your mental energy because you're constantly thinking about what you should have done. Do you want to go here? Do you need to go here? Are you stepping over this? Are you moving over that? See, finishing creates freedom. you know so how it goes is you progress. Your progress comes from completion, and it doesn't and you noting that it doesn't come from the constant beginnings. I began this, I'm beginning this project, I'm beginning that project, etc. So that's that. Um, so we have to learn and something I had to learn as well. Let me push this out. Here we go. I've got to learn to celebrate finished work and not just new ideas. Does that make sense? All right. And let's get 10,000 if we can. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now let's continue on. So that was habit number three, that if you get into the mindset of finishing more than you start, you're not chasing every opportunity, you know that completion builds confidence and credibility. So let's move on to number four, which is as you're finishing work, there's another habit that continues on. So number four is you never stop learning, right? You never stop learning. So, which is the moment you stop growing is the moment you start falling behind. So, many people will tie learning into you're going to school, you are signed up for a particular program, that you are, you've got books, you've got study sessions, what have you. Um, but those that are successful know that learning doesn't stop even after school. That growth requires curiosity. So it's going to be that person that you're going to ask questions, to ask how things are. You're going to ask what makes that up, the reason why. You're going to get to the root of something. That's key. Yep. Never stop learning and never stop growing. That's right, Mr. T. Um, and so, and also for those that never stop learning, you never stop seeking feedback. You always are getting insight as to how to move forward. So, so what do you do? What do you mean by stop learning? So, you never stop learning, meaning that you read books. And whether and now if you read books, doesn't matter if they're online, if they are physical books. I'm a fan of physical books myself. Anyways, um, they read books, they listen to podcasts, they uh, we learn from our failures, we learn from competitors, learn from clients, you learn from you learn from everyone that's out there. You have a teachable mindset that anybody can teach you, whether someone's 550 or 500 years old. Doesn't matter. It's like, okay, I'm going to learn. And I said 500 years old on purpose because there are people that have passed on, but however, their lessons still evoke us. They still teach us now. There are certain ideas that are culturally based, and those ideas are from hundreds of years ago, but we still live on those principles. So, so when it comes to building this habit, understand that knowledge has to become action. It's not just the accumulation of knowledge; it's the activation. Because information without implementation, it that changes nothing. It does. You still stay in the same space. Okay. So every lesson that you learn is an opportunity to improve. Thank you for sharing a lot, Mr. T. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Thank you. Yeah, continue more. Every experience teaches you something. And so once you have an idea of what it teaches you, then you're able to move forward onto that. So that's a key thing. That's important to realize that, to step into that. Right. That's one of the important things. So lifelong learning creates long-term success. So continue to learn. So you have to think about what's one lesson you've learned recently that changed the way you think. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Changes the way you think. Now, so that's habit number four. That learning that you never stop learning. All right. And then we're going to move on to habit number five. And you know what? I'm thinking about this. I know uh, I've been on the fives for a little bit, so I may be pivoting probably next week. Um, any subjects. Now, if there's certain things that you'd like me to discuss, let me know. But let's move on to number five. So, number five, what do successful people do? What are habits for you to quietly build? Um, Number five is reflect before you react. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Well, good. Glad to see you beginning to create again. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, um, and we should chat. We should definitely chat it up. And so, number five, reflect before you react. Yes, reflect before you react. So, when it comes to your goal, comes to your days, you want to be sure that you're not rushing from one day to the next. I'm glad it is. I am so glad it is. Um, you want to be sure that that you take time to review what worked, and not only review what worked, but review what didn't work. Review what what was happening, what led up to you potentially missing a goal or missing a deadline. You want to think about the questions that you ask. How can you ask better questions? How can you get that much more inquisitive and apply what you learn? That's a key thing there. Now, what do you do as successful people? You also own your mistakes. If there's a something that you did that was a challenge that you could have did this better, well, own it, because ownership is really that's a sign of success. That's going to help you as being a principle and a pillar for your for future goals, for bigger goals. So, what else do? You celebrate your wins. You identify the lessons. You adjust your approach. All these things are what you do. That's called reflection. This is what you do in reflection. So when you take the time to sit back and review your actions, to review it, you create awareness of your actions, of your thoughts, awareness of how you move forward. Thank you for sharing that out. Thank you for sharing, Martin. You create a level of awareness that you're now operating in that you didn't operate before. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, and that awareness helps you to improve. So now that you're aware of your actions, you're aware of how you move, it helps you to improve. And that improvement, as you're moving forward, you're still building your momentum. That's what's important. You're building that momentum. So your reflection is going to generate awareness. That awareness generates improvement, and that improvement creates momentum. So, as your momentum, remember, it's not about motivation. That's that one time hit, that's that trigger hit. This is about building momentum, and momentum helps with your discipline. See, if you respond emotionally, that's going to create unnecessary problems and drain your energy. However, if you take time to reflect, that's going to help you make better decisions. It's going to help you to have better outcomes. So all of those tie into it. All of those are very important. So when you take time to reflect, you build your wisdom, and wisdom grows through that reflection. So, and there's a line that says, "In all thy getting, get wisdom and get understanding." See, every day has something for you to teach if you're willing to give it your attention. That's what's important. You've got to give it their attention. So, you have to ask, when was the last time you intentionally reflected on your progress? Yes. So that's important. Um, and and so those are the five things here. So you want to think about that. How does this tie in to accountability? Well, one of the things I've learned in coaching people is that the habits that change your life, those are the ones that are quiet. They don't make the headlines because nobody really applauds your consistency. Reflect, that's right. Reflecting, you'll build progress. Nobody applauds consistency. Nobody's going to celebrate discipline. When you quietly show up, there's no one that's going to notice until one day they begin to notice the results. They don't notice the small steps, but they notice the results. And then when they see the results, they may say, "Hey, man, you were lucky. Oh, wow, that came out of nowhere. That was an overnight success." A lot of times, people will not see the quiet habits that built the success that they now admire. So that's how it is. See, people celebrate the harvest, but rarely appreciate what was planted. So I want to challenge you today. Like, don't leave here trying to change everything. That's the challenge. Is that you may pick up some ideas, you pick up these habits, and what happened is you may feel overwhelmed because you're trying to lift the entire mountain. Pick one habit, just one of those things. You can pick number one, which is keep one promise to yourself. You can choose number two, which is plan tomorrow before today's end. Number three was finish one thing you started. Number four was learn one lesson. Number five was reflect before reacting. At the end of it, success isn't usually built through massive dramatic moments. It's built through ordinary habits repeated consistently over time. So it's the quiet habits, quiet discipline, the quiet growth. And then one day, very loud results. So, so I'll leave you with this. The habits that no one sees today often create the success that everybody notices tomorrow. Okay. So think about that. And now, um, and that's the summary. That's it. Nearly done. Just done. Now, everything I've talked about tonight is important, but here's the reality of it too. It's that it's difficult to build on these habits by yourself. It's difficult to be in the silent cone in your own corner with just you to be able to really be objective to that. So that's one of the reasons why I'm launching my new weekly mastermind tonight. Now, this isn't a motivational session. This isn't just a rah rah session. It's a working session. So every Thursday, we'll dive deeper into topics like this. We talk about accountability, about mindset, execution, leadership, and building habits that actually create results. Now, members get access to every recording. They get access to the worksheet and any resources that I use, and it's a community that's committed to going together. Now, if you've been looking for accountability beyond just attending these when I have them, beyond this live, let's have this conversation. I'd love to, I'd love to tell you more. Message me, all right? And so that's going to be really your next logical step, okay? And so that begins tonight, and we can definitely just talk about it more. So that's it. 5 quiet habits of successful people. I want to thank you all for participating. As I said, in less than 2 hours, I'll be in my mastermind. If you're interested, message me, and I will give you information about that. Otherwise, I will be here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, giving a lot with a good topic here. So, and tomorrow might be I know it'll still be the 5. No, no, you're good. It'll still be the 5. It may be a little less. We'll see. We will see. We will see if I'll stick with the 5. Be sure that you are also following my profile so that, and that you turn on notifications so that you know when I go live. 'Cause you never know. Usually I take the weekends off, but you never know. Might go live on the weekends. You never know. So make sure you turn it on. And I look forward to you all seeing either my last one or the next live. All right. All the best.